All right, everyone. Now we have to talk about the Department of Homeland Security, of course, headed currently by Kristi Noem. I like Kristi Noem, generally speaking. I think that she is generally a capable leader. I have some misgivings about some of the things that she's done, but by DC standards, yeah, she's perfectly fine. Much better than people from the last batch at the DHS under the Joe Biden administration. It's not even close. That being said, I have my misgivings about one thing that she's suggesting. There have been a number of leaks from the DHS and from other federal agencies of late. It's obvious why this is happening because Orange Man bad and hashtag resist and all of the other bullshit in the world. Basically, Trump shouldn't be able to govern because even though he was duly and democratically elected by an overwhelming margin, he shouldn't be allowed to be in charge because he's misogynistic and racist and a fascist and a Nazi and stuff like that. So you have this group of people within the government that fashion themselves as being effectively like maybe the French partisans or something like that. They're an underground resistance fighting the Nazis, fighting against Adolf Hitler. They're wrong. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. There's no equivalence whatsoever, but that's what they're fashioning themselves as. And so they've got some fans on the outside as a result of this, because those people agree with them. They believe that there's this underground circuit of fighters that are sitting there in the sewers with bolt action rifles and shit like that, and they're going to take care of that evil orange man. It's very, very strange how these people have come to that conclusion, but I digress. That being said, though, I have a problem with one of Kristi Noem's particular solutions to this issue, and that's the introduction of polygraph tests to try and test people, whether they're telling the truth, whether they're a leaker or not. Here's the problem, Noem. If you have researched any scientific literature with regards to polygraph tests, you will know that they are completely unreliable. Their accuracy is extremely low. They have been effectively disowned by their own creator, and they are no longer even admissible in the court of law. So you shouldn't be pushing for this. What you should be pushing for instead is a state policy. Now, private individuals have a Fourth Amendment right. Their electronics are effectively treated the same as the mail, and you're not allowed to, randomly search through their phone and shit like that unless you have a compelling reason. There has to be a warrant. There has to be some probable cause. Public officials, though, people working for the government, don't really enjoy that protection. Now, do they? Because the devices are owned by the government itself. You don't need to give them a polygraph test. You simply need to do forensic analysis. The polygraph test isn't going to bring back any meaningful results. You're going to get a handful of false positives. You're going to get negatives where it should be positive. And that's the way polygraph tests work. There's a reason why you can take a polygraph test if you're on the defense and you can admit that as evidence. But the prosecution can't even use the goddamn test, even if it comes back positive. Oh, you're lying. You actually did commit the crime. They can't even admit that into evidence. No court in the land allows that. There's a reason for this. Again, the polygraph test inventor has effectively disowned his own invention. It does not work. It is completely meaningless. It can be gamed. It can come out false positive. It can come out false negative. It happens all the time. They've tested and retested it over and over again. That being said, while I have no problem with Gnome herself, and I know she's trying to do the hardline thing, like she's going on ice raids and wearing combat armor and stuff like that. That's great. It's a good look. By the way, she looks awfully cute in combat armor. That being said, Suggesting that you use a polygraph test system to try to test everyone at the DHS to see who's leaking information simply won't work. It won't work because the test doesn't work. It's not that it's wrong to try to figure out who's leaking the information. I support that completely. But it is wrong to employ a methodology that won't actually accomplish that in any meaningful way at all. And that's exactly what the polygraph test is. If I had my way, honestly, I would abolish the polygraph test. It would be legally outlawed. You would no longer be able to employ it in any legal proceeding whatsoever. You wouldn't even be able to optionally choose it because it is meaningless. If a person games it, they can use it as evidence, even if they're guilty, they can use it as evidence of non-guilt. That's a problem. And if a person comes back and, the polygraph says that they did commit some sort of crime, it can't even be admitted. So what's the point of it? It means absolutely nothing. It's completely meaningless. So don't bother using the polygraph test. Go through their electronics. Their government-sponsored, taxpayer-paid electronics are not due the Fourth Amendment. We have the right, as the taxpayers that are paying for those devices, to know exactly what's being exchanged. We have a right to know what apps they're using. We have a right to know what text they're sending, what text they're receiving. What was the manner of your last phone call, with Mr. Soros or whoever? We have the right to know that. We don't need a polygraph test. It's not going to be meaningful. It's not going to give us any useful information. It's just going to be a waste of time and a waste of taxpayer money. So I suggest a different approach. Grab their fucking phones, grab their fucking computers, and go through them forensically and find out exactly who's doing what. You have the right to do that. It's not a personal computer, it's a work computer. Normally, an employer has the right to go through your work computer. You may use it for personal purposes, but they are allowed to go through it. This is not a violation of your privacy because it's a work computer. You were doing it on company time. Why are we not applying the same standard to the US government? I would think, if anything, US government and state governments, you should apply it double. You should apply it even more. There should be an even higher standard of character with regards to your online content. So we know that these people aren't shit posting on company time, so to speak. If I work for a private company and I log into Twitter and I'm shit posting when I'm supposed to be typing up a report, I can get fired for that. Apparently, in the government, that's not actually possible. It's very, very strange that people that are literally paid by the population to help represent them are the ones that get the most latitude with regards to their workplace ethic. That's about all. Peace out.